Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel and welcome to day 22 of the 100-Day Project. Today, I'm going to be talking about book spines. Now, I've got a couple here to show you, well, you've probably seen it in your own studio, that sometimes when we deconstruct a book, this might be kind of what we end up with. Now, because I wanted this book so badly, when I bought it, this is kind of the condition it was in. But you can tell from this spine, it's 4 inches wide, that this is a fat little book. The pages themselves, well, there's the height, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 8 inches tall and probably 5 or 5.5, wide. Anyway, I'm in the process of digitizing this book. It has many, many, many color and line illustrations in it. So I just wanted to show you this. This will, of course, be part of the kit eventually as well. So there's that. Then this one, I'm not even sure what this came off, but it too is in really fragile condition. And as I go on, you'll see that I've dealt with ones that were even in worse shape than that. So I think most of us are committed to using every bit of a book that we possibly can. So, I mean, this little container here is one that I've just been basically throwing spines into as I encounter them. So if you've seen, bought or owned some of these Reader's Digest books, these things they're awful. I don't think there's any other way to say it. But that didn't cause me to throw them out. This one, you can just see, it just crumbled. I don't know what in the world they made it out of, or if these sort of indentations are kind of what have weakened it, but that awful. Now I have a whole other big bag somewhere with all these kinds of parts. These little meshy parts that we find inside spines. Here's another one that's very plain. This is something I trimmed off in preparation for taping this video. This one is it's just basically cloth at this point. It says the songs of long ago. So it's basically threadbare, but of course it has a purpose as well. Here are some really cool, I thought I had the other one as well. The headband from the top of an ancient book as well. Here's another one that's basically down to cloth. I can't even read that. Something for boys and girls. So, okay, this one, if I can find the other piece here. I mean, not that you need to see both to understand what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, here it is. So these are the headbands from this really old book. Now, before I turned on the camera, I spent quite a bit of time cleaning up my desk because it was covered in little fragments of paper and leather and just basically, 100 plus years of dust and sort of decay. I think you understand what I'm talking about there. So I'll stop there and I'll show you some of the things that I have done with this stuff. So I picked, okay, this is a Reader's Digest one. So I basically just glued it with glue stick to a piece of, oh, I know what this was. This was part of a brown envelope. And then I zigzagged around it. Now, what I could do is, just make sure that this is sort of squared off. It doesn't look particular, like it's not even. I could do a ragged tear around it. I could leave it as is. So I don't know. But this can obviously serve the purpose of a bookmark and a bit of journaling space. In this case, this was a very ornate and attractive book spine. So again, glued it using glue stick and then zigzagged. With this one, though, I think what I'm going to attempt to do, and this was on Manila Tag. I think I have a piece here. Oh, there's that crumbly stuff I was talking about. I'll get to that in a minute. But so I think this is Manila Tag. I bought 2 or 3 packages off it at a garage sale a few years ago. I think because I don't think anything should be taken away from the intricate and ornate nature of this spine. I think what I would just attempt to do, and I glued it on sideways so I didn't have any more. What I would do is with, nerves of steel, I would just cut along as close as I can without cutting any threads. Boy, I'm walking on the wild side with this. Just to, I don't mind having that little, lighter colored outline because I think it kind of serves to draw attention to the really, dark navy spine itself. So you don't need to watch me. You don't need to watch me do that, but you can see that makes it look nicer than the way I have it right now. So there's that. Then this one obviously came from a book with a very skinny spine. I like it. The message is good, From a Woman's Heart, and I'm thinking this would be perfect in the celebration of women journals that I'm working on. So it's 8 inches tall, so it's sort of pushing the limits of how tall we want to get for most books. I think that, now I could have trimmed it down top and bottom, made it a little shorter, but I chose to leave it the way it was because I intend to put an eyelet in the top and, dangle something from it, whether just a bead or 2 or something a little more intricate, or maybe, layer some things up. So it could be fabric, it could be paper. I've got this thing is kind of annoying me here. When I was cleaning off under my, do I have a Kleenex on me? Got this little, okay, got it. So this was a piece of packaging, and I liked it because it was black. So I found some paper, this kind of stuff. It feels, it's probably handmade or is intended to represent handmade. I used these sort of fancy deco scissors, and frankly, it didn't cut very well. I think I probably could have chewed it just as well. Anyway, I did manage to get that done. I glued it on to cover the words. This is what it looked like. And then I added, this is piano paper to have a journaling spot. And then this is a little piece of art, in my opinion. And it's part of the book spine from Strand Magazine. I bought, I think, 3 volumes. This is more of the same. And you can just see it basically disintegrates. And it, it makes a heck of a mess. But I did want to show you that using my pokey tool, I must have put it away like a good girl. I was able on this to kind of peel off various layers of this backing stuff to make it a little thinner. So here's a good indication of what I'm talking about. And I thought, well, let me stop and show the people. Because of course, once I start doing something, I'm inclined to just keep at it till I'm done. So with this, I used Fabri-Tac to hold it down, and it's not totally even. So here and here is a little thicker than it is over here. But I also had to repair some tears in the leather. Oh, I can see I could use a dab of glue there. But you can see that it's still shedding and discoloring this paper. Now the risk, and maybe you'll see, I left this last bit to glue onto here, but I wanted you to see sort of what I've been up against. Now, I do also have this little, I call it a spatula, I don't know what it really is. It is very handy though for getting under things with a little wider reach, as well as I use it to scrape glue off my mat and so on. Anyway, so I'm thinking that this will be a hangover in a journal. So really all I need here is a piece of this to sort of coordinate. So very gingerly, oh, you can see there that it's already breaking and tearing. So now this might all just come apart in my hand, which I don't. So it's a combination of kind of loosening some of the glue, maybe saving pieces and just re-gluing them together. Like I wanted a little bit more than that, but I suppose I could settle for that because it does seem that it definitely wants to break off right here. Now, I'll probably save that and use it as well. So I've got 2, maybe 3 pieces that I can piece together. Now, because this is really quite, I was going to say really quite thin, maybe art glitter glue would have done the trick, but maybe I'll just wait for this to flow into the nozzle, and then I'll know that I use the same glue on both sides. So the other reason I was working on removing some of the layers is because there is that curve to this. So it makes it, you're kind of working against that when you're trying to glue something flat. So that was another reason why I was flirting with danger. To try to remove some of the bulk, to get it kind of thinner so I could have a good connection. Oh, is it going to be one of those days? I already used this morning. And I don't even think my little pokey. I usually have a, whoops, sorry. I usually have a pin. This one's, almost too thick. Maybe that's enough to let me do what I need to do. Kind of another overcast, well, partly sunny, let's say, day here. No, I don't know. I've turned this around so many times, I don't know what's what anymore. To me, I feel Let's see if I can figure this out. I mean, oh, you know what? I bet you this went over here. Damn it. But again, you won't tell, so I don't have to worry. I can put these pieces wherever I want to. Oh, I started to say that I think that this is so beautiful just on its own with the black, the color of paper that I chose, and the sort of reddish brown, rusty colored leather, that I don't intend to add another thing to it because I think I can't imagine what would make it look better. I think anything else would just take away from it. Now, again, that obviously did not come from there, but at this point, I don't think it matters very much, since I accidentally tipped that over when I set it down. So it will be what it will be. So I think that is gorgeous. Now, I guess I'm hoping that, maybe that's a false hope though, is that eventually it will stop shedding. But I suppose maybe the smarter thing to do would be to, once this is dry, is to go over it with some matte medium, just to sort of stop the deterioration in its tracks. Because it would be a shame if it continued falling apart just through wear and tear. Anyway, love that. Okay, and I'll show you one final thing. Let me get rid of most of this. Believe it or not, I'm going to, yeah. Oh, maybe I'll keep this piece because it's nice and thin. But I'll throw the rest of this out. Hope I got the garbage can. Okay, and then the last thing I did was sort of make a, I don't know, can we call it a masterboard? Using a bunch of the other spines that I had in my my little tin here. So what I had done before I started gluing them down was kind of, you know, clean up the edges. Laid that one down first, and then realized eventually, you can see it much better now than I could when I first started working with it, that it had been reinforced with tape. But that probably just adds to the grunginess of it. Now, I deliberately picked cardstock because I thought, you know, if bits and pieces of it show, you know, so what? Better than bright white. Oh, I meant to try to get that off. This bit here is part of that same spine. And I think I had some glue ooze out. And it kind of discolored and dirtied up its neighbor here. Now I don't want to, and this too has a bit of fragility to it. That's maybe a little less obvious than it was before. I wish I would have caught that when it was still damp. Excuse me. So basically you can see that I just kind of, I started there and worked my way out. Didn't pay a great deal of attention to, you know, colors or anything like that. This Laugh with Leacock was a shorter book, so then I had a partial spine there that I just pieced in. This, excuse me, came off the bottom of this, so I filled a space here. This is part of that ratty thin one that I showed you. This, again, I said was part of that. Boy, I wish I would have, this is kind of lumpy and bumpy here. Yeah, see, I should have tried to take some of those layers down. That's probably, yeah, not going to hold much longer. I guess I could patch or repair a little bit here with art glitter glue, but no. I don't know, can you see that? It's just basically disintegrating before my eyes. We'll see if that holds. I guess worst case scenario is I can just rip that whole section off and replace it with a better piece. I do have, like I said, a couple more of those books, so I could find something to go there. So, and you may be wondering, well, what is the point of this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I could, well, I would trim off the excess paper, for one thing. And then I should probably, just for maybe some peace of mind, you know, pick some, either some neutral colored thread and just sew up and down the connections, the seams, so that it, you know, stays for forever. This is, well, it's not very, very thick. I suppose it could be cut up and, you know, become pockets, belly bands. You know, certainly most of these could have become belly bands in their own right. This paper is, what is that, 8.5 inches, I guess. Yeah, it's a normal piece of paper. So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a fun exercise to do it. Get it out of the little place that I've been collecting these things and see what the possibilities are. I think it's fair to say, though, that creating something like this and these bookmark / belly bands is probably the most likely scenario. However, if you've got any bright ideas about what else could be done with book spines, then by all means, let me know in the comments. I do appreciate everything that you guys say and the fact that you take the time to comment, because to me, that's just, I mean, everyone's time is precious. I'm going to stop there. I have, I've got many more of these videos to make, so I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.